Hey everybody, I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching Sit Down. Nyambi Nyambi's here with us. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks so much for jumping on today.
Yeah, thank you, DJ.
So we were just talking off camera about your prolific college basketball career. Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, Bucknell. What do you remember the
Yeah.
most about playing hoops at Bucknell?
What I remember most is hilarious. Being yelled at by Coach Flannery every practice. It was just one constant barrage of yelling, and I made it through 4 years of yelling.
I feel like a lot of coaches used to be like that. You know, it's like the
Yeah.
top night model, and it's like we're going to have that at every level. I feel like hopefully it's not like that anymore, but yeah, you're probably right on the tail end of that.
Oh my gosh, it was bad, and I had that in high school too, so it was something I was used to. I mean, my coach, Charlie Thompson in high school was a Bobby Knight clone. So I mean, looked like him, dressed like him, yelled like him, threw stuff like him, but we won. So
winning cures all, but like kids don't like being yelled at like that. They don't play better when that happens.
No. But he actually brought the best out of me, so I will say that. I will say that.
That's cool. So you have this interesting journey where you've lived in a bunch of different places around the country. You got into acting. So how did you make the transition from hoops to acting late in college?
I had always been acting. When I did my first play in elementary school. It was a Cinco de Mayo play. I had one line. I don't remember the line. I wish I could. But I remember how much that line meant to me in terms of being on stage and saying it. And so I would take acting classes as, just something on the side, something fun to do in middle school and in high school. And I would do speaking competitions when I was in high school, the forensics club, interpreting people's speeches. But, never really thought about acting as a career, because basketball was my life. I love basketball so much. I mean, I'm a sports junkie, so I always thought my life was going to end up in sports. I thought I was going to play overseas, somewhere, if I was going to play in the NBA. And it wasn't until I was injured not in high school, but in college. I was injured my senior year, and I decided I saw this flyer on the board somewhere on campus, this Martin Luther King Gala. And I said, oh, I used to do this speech in high school. I'll break it out for this. And mind you, I was known as the quiet kid in high school and college. The only time anybody ever heard me speak was, whether I was telling a joke to a friend on the side and he would laugh and everyone would be like, what? And he'd be like, yeah. And then they were like, what'd he say? And I'm like, nothing. Then of course, me, talking trash when somebody started. I would never talk trash unless somebody talked trash to me. So I always like to say, don't talk me into my game. And so a lot of people would talk me into my game. And then, of course, that's when, I'd go off dunking, doing all that stuff. But I didn't know what I was going to do with my life senior year. And went up to the person running the program who knew who I was. And I said, I want to do this speech, this eulogy for the martyred children. And, that Martin Luther King did, for the 4 little girls that were bombed in Birmingham, unfortunately. And she said, what? You want to do, okay. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, you don't think I can do this? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm about to show you. So then I took the speech, memorized it, didn't call it acting. Took the speech and studied the speeches behind the speech, didn't call it acting. Learned his cadence, learned his walk, the gait, didn't call it acting. All things that I, did for fun to really get into into this speech, this character, this person, who Martin Luther King was. So when the gala happened, did the speech, and then all of a sudden, just I don't know, just they call it catching the bug. This thing happened to me. I think the spotlight hit me, and I was like, whoosh, what's going on? And did the speech, and it felt like an out-of-body experience. And this professor of mine, Professor Glenn Griffith, comes up to me and says, Nyambi, you're an actor. And I said, yeah, I am. And then from then on, never looked back. Started a theater group there at Bucknell. and moved right to New York, and went to conservatory right away. And so, it's been a dream since then.
That's awesome. It's really interesting because people assume things based on their identity, right? So at that point, you're just the basketball player to this person.
Yeah.
And quickly you prove them wrong. And there's some
Yeah.
sweetness in that vindication. And look at how it set up the rest of your life. Like if you hadn't gotten hurt, who knows? I'm sure you still find this in some way, shape, or form, but that injury opens up these doors that may not have opened up in the same way.
So true. So true. So true. I mean, I had a tough time at Bucknell, in terms of basketball. But I don't regret it,
Mm-hmm.
because I would not be where I am today because, I found who I am when I was there.
Yeah, it all ends up working itself out. And just the fact that you were a Division I athlete is an unbelievable accomplishment. It's something that you can be proud of the rest of your life, man.
Yeah. But man, I could ball, man. I used to like.
So give me like the comparison of what your game was like. Like who's the closest comp?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so I grew up loving Magic Johnson, right? Mm-hmm. Not saying that was who my game was at, pattern after, but that's who I loved Magic. So the move that I would use from him was his spin move, the Earl the Pearl spin. So I loved using that. So it was like a mixture of people. So like, Grant Hill, because, I had the little stutter step crossover. So I'd use, that. Then you had AI, who eventually got that crossover from Dean Barry, who was a walk-on.
Amazing crossover, yep.
Do that, his amazing crossover, right? So like different players that, like Isaiah Thomas, just the way he would handle the rock, that was another cat. So I try to like take from different people, in terms of, my game. And then I could jump. I had a 42-inch vert back then.
Wow.
So I could jump, I could like jump out the gym. And I could shoot. The problem was that I was so much, I had to do everything right. I had to do it right for my coach. I had to always do it right. So I didn't allow myself the freedom to improvise, which is something I learned later on through acting. And I'm like, man, if I had this mindset in terms of just improvisation, trusting the plays, trusting I know it, trusting I know the blocking. Right. You play your plays, you have blocking, you have the rehearsal. And then you showtime, you execute the blocking, you execute the passes. When you pass the line to someone else, they pass the line back to you, you catch it, and you shoot with the punchline, or you shoot with the zinger or whatever. Every night those things are different, on stage. Same way with competition, with sports. You have the plays, you have the the way you move the ball around, but the opponent, what they do changes and dictates how those plays are executed, but they're still the same plays every single time out. So the parallels were very similar to me, in terms of being on stage, acting versus being on that stage, being the basketball court, and playing. And so like I don't know where this started, but that's it was fun, sort of realizing that how much basketball really did help me